can't get the words out.
Is that the right word?
Studious.
Why is that when you repeat a word, it just sounds different? Studious. Studious. Whatever. You know what I mean? And the ones that are good and they still stuck around. Stuck around? Stuck around. The one that's still stuck around.
Stick around. Hi guys, welcome back to Giggles and Real Talk. I'm Sis.
And I'm Kimmy. And today we're talking about friendships, the good ones, the confusing ones, and the ones that had you like, yeah, never again.
Yeah, because friendships do have ups and downs, right? But I also feel like they make life better.
Yeah, I think so as well. Honestly, but the right friends make everything feel easier though.
Definitely. So today we're going to be sharing some of our friendship stories, and I feel like we've got quite a few. I think from school, college, I went to uni, even work. But I think for me, one of the stories that stand out the most is when I met my best friend in college. I remember during that time, I feel like things at home it wasn't too great, and
Yeah.
I sort of met her at a time in my life where I don't know, she was just the best person. She was there for me, and I could just relate to her. And I could just be me. I just felt like, I don't know, maybe just growing up where we did, I couldn't always be me, and I did make friends, but I almost felt like sometimes I was being judged. But I think with her, she was the first person that I met where I just felt like I could just be me, and we shared a lot in common. I think we could just like relate to one another, and that just made our bond really, really strong. So that's one of the friendships I remember. The other one that comes to my mind is when I met my second best friend, which is a little bit of a funny story because when I started college, we were in one campus for 6 months, and I didn't notice him at all. Like, I had no idea he existed.
How old were you?
So I think I was 17.
You're 17?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
17 or 18, I can't remember. But I had no idea that he existed. And then we moved to our new campus. There was a new building that was being made, and out of nowhere I just noticed him, and I was like, was he in the same class? Because I swear I've never met him before. And I remember we started in September, so I met my first best friend, and then in April I met my second best friend, and then the second one, like, we just hit off, instantly. And I guess us three became a trio, and we would just spend all our time together. And I'm not in touch with my first best friend anymore. We went to university, and then we just took different paths, so we're no longer in touch. Nothing bad happened, to be honest. We just lost touch. So with my second best friend, I do see him, and we're still in touch. And I think it's been about 18 years, so just close to 2 decades of us being friends. So time really does fly. But those are the two friendship stories that come to my mind.
Yeah.
How about you?
It's a little bit different from what your story is. That sounds like amazing, like, memory that you have. That reminds me of the time that when I was also in school, like that's where I met my first set of friends, you could say. In primary school, I don't really remember much, but in secondary school, that's where I met my really good girlfriends, you could say. And I still am connected with them still to this day, but not as how we were back in school. You know how in school we have a common like place where we see each other every day. We have classes together. We have, teachers, same like subjects together. We have the same teachers and all that. But now obviously it's a little bit different. But anyway, back then that's where I met them, and they're just really nice friends I've had. And I remember that just reminds me one time where we used to do a lot of like fun pranks. I was living like a rebel back then in school. I was quite naughty, you could say. I wasn't really following much on the subjects. Like I wasn't really studious.
You weren't you weren't really into schoolwork.
I wasn't really into schoolwork. Studious. Is that the right word?
Studious. Why is that when you repeat a word, it just sounds different? Studious.
Whatever. You know what I mean. Yeah. So once back in 2008, when I was in school, I think I was probably in year 9, I think. We played a prank and TP'd the art classroom. And our favorite teacher, you would know who it is.
Yeah.
He's
Everyone
loved him.
Yeah.
So we adored him so much, but we adored him to a point that we're like, let's play pranks on him. Even if that meant it was his art classroom. It was our art
So
classroom.
you TP'd like your favorite teacher's art room as a prank.
Yeah.
Usually people TP like a classroom or a house of people that okay, maybe not like or whatever, but yeah. Okay then.
So we did. We TP'd the entire classroom, the monitors, the walls, the like everything, the walls, everything. And we generally thought back then it was 2008, we just thought it wasn't as strict as it is right now in
Yeah,
school. Like there was
yeah.
no cameras, nothing like that. No one to monitor us. But it was bad. So
Yeah. Well, I mean,
yeah.
I guess that was a little bit of a harmless prank, but I mean, I think our school was quite, what's the right word? Like everybody was just rebellious, and I think year nine is that point where I don't know what happens to teenagers, and I don't think that's for everybody, but at least what I've experienced, and it's like we've had people doing crazy stuff in our school and getting excluded and stuff. So that TP thing sounds quite a low level.
I think your year was much more worse than
Yeah,
my year. Like she's about 3 or 4 years ahead of me.
yeah,
In
yeah,
academic years.
yeah, yeah.
So her year was completely really bad.
That's
But
crazy.
I thought, I don't know if if our year was bad or not. But we were just little hooligans, just pranking everyone and everything.
Yeah.
So then our form teacher said that they checked the cameras after school to find out who did it, and that really had us very scared. And me and my friends were just freaked out the entire day. So yeah, eventually they never really looked at the cameras. They just said they would look at the cameras, but they never did. But that was one of the few memories I have of my friends, good friends,
Yeah.
of back in the day. Wow, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think I
incredible.
have so many stories, but I don't think I can say all of them here. But yeah, those were actually fun times. You know, when you're just young and just feel like you can just get away with things, and I think we did. You know, I feel like now you wouldn't be able to, but I think like back
No.
then, I think like teachers were a little bit more lenient and they did let go of a lot of things. Yeah, I think our year was one of the most toughest years I think for our teachers, and if I could apologize to them like individually, I would. Not necessarily me, but just what we did as like a whole thing. Yeah.
I would never be able to think about TPing any house or class.
I'd love to do it now though.
No, I can't. I can't. I'm too scared. I'm too
No,
scared.
I
The
could do
fact
it.
that I had the guts to do it back then, I was
I think
like,
it'd be so fun.
wow.
Not school, but I don't know. But maybe just like a fun thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. Fun times.
fun times. But real talk, not all friendships last.
Yeah, that's true. I think one of the hardest things that I think I experienced is outgrowing friends. Or maybe sometimes just growing apart or just that distance sort of like creates that friendship sort of ending. And I remember with the first best friend that I made that I said earlier. So we were in college together, and then it came to our second year where we had to apply for universities, and it just ended up that my first best friend was going to a different university, and my other best friend and me, we were going to the same one. And I think what happened was I think our priorities changed, you know, like once you get into university, I feel like it's like serious mode on. You have to get all your assignments in, you have deadlines, and I wasn't going to a university that was local, so I was traveling. And I think maybe in the first couple of months we did make that effort to keep in touch and meet up, but I think it goes back to what you were saying, that when you're in the same environment,
Yeah.
you tend to see people more, and then once your environment changes, like people get busy and priorities change, and it's like routine changes everything.
Yeah.
And sometimes the effort is not there anymore, and yeah, as things get busy, sometimes people don't put in effort, and also people are going through different things as well. So I did notice that change in our friendship initially, and then I think slowly we just stopped meeting, and nothing bad happened. We actually never argued for the entire time
No,
that we actually.
you guys were really, really close.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
yeah.
that.
She was like another sister to me, and I would go to her house, and her family literally just saw me as one of the daughters.
Yeah.
So we were like super close for a good couple of years, and we never argued. So nothing bad happened. We just grew apart, and in the past couple of years, I have reached out. I tried to connect again, but I think for one reason or another, we just weren't able to. But I think for me, I don't know why, I just feel like life is still long, and maybe one day we can build that connection again, and we could meet up and see where our lives are, because we met when we were in our late teens, and now in my 30s, so is she. So yeah, it might be different. I guess maybe our conversations would be different, our dynamic would be different, but yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it is a friendship that I do miss, because she was there for me when I guess I needed a really good friend that just understands me, who doesn't just sympathize but also empathizes.
Yeah.
So I just felt like she was that one person that I could go to at that time. And I think when I was going to college as well, you were in school, so I wouldn't see you that much, and like even though we were close, but because I didn't see you all the time, we weren't that close, and I would see her a lot more. So I kind of leaned on her for support, or just talking about things.
You guys would go like holidays together as well.
Yeah,
Go
yeah,
to
with so many memories
events together. I
yeah.
remember.
So I guess it's one of the harsh truths of life, where a relationship or a friendship doesn't always end because of a conflict or an argument, or because or because someone did something wrong. It could be just for no reason, and sometimes you have to accept it, and that can be a little bit hard. But I guess sometimes it is just what it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I feel like life just happens and the contact between each other just starts to fade.
Yeah.
It is just what it is.
Yeah.
And there's also like friends that you probably haven't seen in years, but somehow you still message each other, like here and there. It's not constant, but the connection's still there. Like as I mentioned earlier, I have these friends that I've met in school. I haven't seen them since I've left school, since I've after year 11. Like I have not seen them. I've gone to colleges and even after that, but I've never seen them. It's been that long, probably like 15, 16 years. So the only contact I have with them is through WhatsApp. That's just it. And we've been saying for years, let's meet up, let's go for like, for a coffee, let's go eat somewhere. Then of course people have their own availability, their own priorities. They change. Sometimes they also, as I know, some of them have now settled down and they,
kids.
they have kids and all that. And there's also one thing about me as well. Like I have like some childhood friends that I grew up with since before school, and the ones that live nearby, but I don't see them all the time either. Not because anything's wrong, but because I've set boundaries for myself. Like I can't always be available, and I feel like that's okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild when you think about it. Like friendships are not always fixed. They change shape, like fade or grow depending on your life, and that's just part of growing up, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes I do think, like, is it me? Did I change? Did they change? Or is it just life? And maybe we all have changed. And I do believe that not everybody stays the same. I think with every passing year, with every 5 years, 10 years, people do change, and priorities, or even like people's health, or they could be going through stuff, or people are trying to achieve things in life, isn't it? And so you start asking yourself these questions, and sometimes it might be you, I'm not sure, it might be them, but I think it's just to have that peace or that closure in yourself, that okay, well, I can try to reach out to them. If I don't get an answer, and if they don't reach out to me, if they don't put the effort, then you can say at least you tried.
Yeah. And it's okay. It's okay. It happens. Sometimes, we can take it a bit personally. Like some of them are going through some major life changes, and we only heard about it through another friend. And when we thought once we're going to be hearing from them, like directly, because we were once upon a time really close. And it is just what it is. We just grow apart. And sometimes, rather than just being really upset about it, I just have to just accept what it is.
Yeah.
And I've learned that communication boundaries really matter. As I mentioned earlier, not everyone deserves access to you all the time. Maybe that also goes with other people as well. Like, I'm not always going to be available. And honestly, sometimes I like to be in my own company.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah, definitely. I think friendships are tricky sometimes. Sometimes they're easy, and sometimes we're blessed with really good friendships, and sometimes we're not. And I guess you just have to find the good ones, the ones that do stick around, and
The ones that are still here.
yeah, the ones that are here. And if they're not here, then that's okay too. You find new friends.
We have family, we have each other.
Yeah. I think Vin Diesel said it. To have friends, got family.
Family.
Okay.
Facts.
Now we're gonna do some real talk reflections. So over to you, Kimmy.
Yeah. Here's something else I also realize. If a friendship is making you anxious, drained, or constantly overthinking, I feel like that's a red flag. Not all friends always are good vibes. They give you like, they have good vibes, and they're not always good for you. I feel like I recently learned that more, being in my 30s, you could say, or late 20s. I've had friends I was once like very close with, but sometimes I don't know, or maybe they were jealous of me. I don't like to use that word, but when you're a bit younger, you have insecurities. You're a
Yeah.
bit jealous of someone else, of their looks and stuff like that. I don't know what reason, and I think I would overthink everything they would say about me because we were close back then. I remember one friend who would make unpredictable comments about my body. This was during my early 20s again, and I was insecure about my body, and she gave me unsolicited advice on pointing out on my weight gain. I know some of it came from her own insecurities and health struggles, but it still affected me. I'm human. Even if you care about someone, if the friendship leaves you feeling anxious or small, it's okay to step back.
Yeah, I feel like that's not healthy, and I feel like that's a toxic friendship because I guess if you are concerned about someone's way or just anything else, there's a way to say something. It's not about what you say, it's about how you say it. And
Yeah.
if they are your true friend, it will come from a point of concern, not like pointing it out and judging you and saying, oh my God, you gained so much weight, or oh my God, like, why are you losing your hair, and all that kind of stuff. Like, it doesn't mean anything. You're not helping the situation. And have they asked you for any advice? Like, are you just giving it out? And where is it stemming from? So I think like you just have to be really conscious about the way that your friends communicate certain things to you. And if you are feeling worse about yourself based on what they're saying, like, that's not a friend.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I feel like there are a few people out there where they say certain comments to make themselves feel good about themselves, but it's like a temporary excitement, you can say, whatever it is, and then they're back in being like insecure again.
Yeah.
So, but just in that moment, I knew, obviously I would get hurt by the comments, but I started to realize because it was such a pattern over the time. Every time I hung out with her, I realized that it was more about her insecurity, not about me. So I didn't really get much affected, but obviously I knew that, I had my own struggles some days where I didn't feel always so great.
Yeah.
And protecting your peace doesn't make you fake. It's not.
Yeah.
Sometimes just dealing with certain people can add unnecessary stress.
Mm-hmm.
If you know someone is likely to say something offensive or annoying, it's okay to spend less time with them. It just means you're protecting your peace.
Yeah,
So
100%. Yeah. I feel like before, I think when I was a lot younger, I would want to sort things out with someone. I would want to give them the benefit of the doubt and have that conversation. And I think maybe, I don't know if it's like being in your 30s or you've had enough experience. I think I've just come to a point where I just cut people off. I just can't be bothered anymore. Like, for me, my peace is the utmost important thing to me. And if someone can bring that thought to their mind and then say it with their mouth and intentionally want to hurt me, like, I have no time for you. I would not even give you
facts, yeah.
I won't give you the time of day to explain to you, oh, you said this to me and you hurt me. Like, you shouldn't do that anyway. So I think in previous years I've just cut people off, or certain people, like, I just spent, just like you said, like, I just spend less time with them only if I have to or if I need to, which there isn't that many people, to be completely honest. But I think, like, you have to protect your energy, you have to protect your peace. And I talk about attracting the right people, attracting the right vibe. I think if you're naturally a happy person, if you're optimistic and positive, that's the kind of people that you want to invite into your circle, into your bubble, into your energy, right? So I think if anyone is making you feel low, if anyone is making you feel bad about yourself, everyone, if anybody is guilt tripping you, like, try to reduce time with them, and if you can, just cut them out of your life because you don't need that unnecessary stress for no reason.
It's just negative energy, negative vibe. Sometimes I would give them like benefit of the doubt, like, or maybe they had certain bad days, but then when it becomes more of a thing, or like as I mentioned earlier, like a pattern, then you start to notice that fact that is that the friend that you have, are they really worth your time? Like,
Yeah,
Do you want to be friends with them anymore?
Yeah. And I think I've also had people in my life where they just naturally just suck your energy.
That's the word.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and I don't mean to be rude or like harsh or anything like that, but so I remember this was like pre-pandemic, and I used to meet people like after work and stuff, and the conversations were this like the same every single time, you know, whether they are talking about problems at work,
Repetitive.
yeah, they could be gossiping about people at work or about the personal life and everything, and then I'm not even listening to what they're saying, but more I'm just observing them. And in my head, I'm just thinking, we've been talking about the same thing for like probably days or weeks. Like, do you hear yourself? And if you do have these problems, are you trying to fix them, or do you want like what is it that you want from me? Because we keep on talking about the same thing over again. And I'm someone who's quite practical and quite logical. If I see a problem, I try to fix it. And you know me, like the one thing that I probably despise is repetition, like talking about the same thing over and over and over again.
It's not just about repetition. It's about the fact that they think that you're the only person that we can talk about. They can talk about the same thing over again rather than actually valuing your time as well and want to like care about you and asking how you are, having like enjoying that time with you, like if I'm making sense, rather than having that space to just having like talking about the same thing over again. It's not going anywhere.
I've had times where I talk to someone and they wouldn't even ask me how I'm doing, is everything okay with me? They just like too busy talking about themselves and everything, and I'm just like, okay, then I'll just listen. But I've just cut them out because I'm like, I can't give you that time and that space to talk about the same thing over again, because I get bored.
Same.
I do value you as a person and as a friend, but if I notice that my energy is being drained or I'm just not valuing the person maybe anymore, I'm just like I think you should be going and talking to somebody else about this, because you don't want help from me and you don't want to help yourself. And if you don't want to help yourself, then there's nothing that I can do, and I'm not enjoying your company. So I'd rather watch my TV and eat some good food, which I do enjoy, because I love my like alone time. I love like just doing things by myself. I am like my favorite person, right? So I love doing activities by myself, and like I don't need another person to sort of like have fun or fill a void.
Just get some good food and just watch TV.
That's
all worth a while.
That is it. Like after a good days of work, I just love doing that. Just crashing like the sofa and just watching TV and eating some good food. And if I want to go out with a friend, like I do, but I think I'm always like, should I sit there with them and listen to what they have to say? Because I'm actually not interested. Do you know what's so funny? I was watching a podcast and it was this actor, and he said that he's an introvert, which I am too, if you haven't guessed yet. And he said something very interesting, which I've always thought about, but I've never said. And then he was like, you know, when you meet someone, what is it that you actually talk about? So right? So when you meet with this other person, a friend, whoever it is, they're going to talk about themselves. You're going to talk about you. You're going to update each other. And then after that, you're just going to talk nonsense. What is it actually that you're going to be talking about? Unless they're doing something interesting that you're interested in, or you're doing something that they're interested in. Otherwise, after that, it's just talking about somebody else or gossiping or this and that. And it's like, what kind of conversations are we having?
Yeah, true.
And I've always thought that, because I'm just like, you come to a point where I'm like, and this is the truth, and you guys can say whatever you want. I'm not interested in listening to what you have to say, and I'm not interested in telling you about myself. So what are we talking about?
That's true. This end up just like normal, nothing else to really talk about.
Unless like I really like you and you're doing interesting things. And you know what? If they're interesting things, okay, I'm not saying that. So you might be reading a really good book, and I'd love to hear about that. You might be watching a show or traveling or doing something, and that's absolutely fine, right? We can share those kind of stuff. But if you're going to sit there and say, oh my God, like I'm just been so tired at work lately. Oh my God, the kids are driving me crazy. Oh my God, this. Oh my God, that. And I'm just like,
what else do we say?
like, what am I listening to? Why am I here?
We should go to see a therapist.
Yeah, and then I'm just like, I'm the fool. I'm the one that agreed to this, knowing what I've come into. Next time, no. But yeah. Maybe that's a little bit harsh. I don't know, but yeah, maybe that's what, that's why I'm just naturally an introvert, and I just like love my own space, and I
That's
love my
okay
own time.
though. That's
Yeah,
okay.
I guess so. But yeah, that was our segment on just reflecting on friendships and experiences that we've had. And sometimes friendships last, sometimes they're just seasonal. And I've had great friends, and I think like sometimes when one friend leaves, sometimes it can create that space and the opportunity for you to make new friends. You're not necessarily replacing that friend, but maybe you are gonna make new friends because you're in a different space in your life and you're attracting different kind of people.
Life circumstances just
Yeah.
it changes all
Yeah.
the time
Yeah.
around us. So
Yeah.
yeah, we always meet new people. We're always learning something new every day.
Exactly.
All right, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed this video. We know that you also got some stories to tell, and we want to hear them.
Yeah, so write in the comments your funniest or most awkward friendship moments.
And for the next episode,
we might be doing a challenge or a tasting video, who knows, because you guys know we love snacks. So yeah, it might be a nice one where we taste different kind of snacks.
Yeah. Either way, it's going to be a good one, so make sure you're locked in.
This has been Giggles and Real Talk, so we'll see you in the next episode. Peace out!